Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Maggie and I am a first-time mom of an 11-week-old little baby boy, Eli. He will be 12 weeks on Sunday, and I love doing these chatty videos where I talk all about natural, non-toxic pregnancy, motherhood, and life. So if you're into that, I would love for you to subscribe and stick around. Today I'm going to be sharing with you how I had a natural unmedicated birth. So we're going to get into the nitty-gritty details about what I did to actually achieve a natural and unmedicated birth. And I would love for you to stick around to the end because I will share the thing that had the biggest impact on me being successful with this process. So the first thing that I would say I did is I prepared. I spent a lot of time preparing myself to have a natural unmedicated birth. There was a lot of physical preparation and also mental preparation. So some of the physical preparation looked like daily exercise like walks, squatting, as well as Kegels to build my pelvic floor muscles, as well as exercises on the birth ball or the exercise ball, just opening everything up and, preparing my body physically for the process of labor and birth. And then the mental preparation. So I did a lot of meditation just to bring myself into my body and really be present with myself. And I also used a lot of positive affirmations, just reminding myself that I can do it and that I was built to do this and that this is my biological purpose, and really just affirming that, yeah, like I can do this. I am strong enough to do this. And I would say with the mental preparation or just preparation in general, I spent a lot of time educating myself, and I think education is a really big piece of being successful and having a natural unmedicated birth. I became educated about the birth process in its entirety, like what exactly is going to happen, what is it going to look like, what are the sensations that I'm going to be experiencing, and like what are the normal or typical processes that people move through this experience. And I also educated myself on kind of what to do if something went wrong. For instance, those like if this then that situations. I was prepared for anything and everything. I also educated myself on how I wanted to have my birth or how I wanted my birth experience to go. So I read a lot of books about natural unmedicated childbirth, and I read a lot of books about the Bradley method, which is the method that my fiance and I decided to use. We also took a significant amount of classes, being that we had our birth at the birth center. They actually require that you take these classes, and I'm so grateful because I don't know where I would be if I didn't take these classes. They were very informational. So we took a childbirth education class, which was actually one day a week for a month, and we learned a lot about the birth process in that class. We also took a class about the first days at home and a breastfeeding class, and I just highly recommend, if you are going into this natural unmedicated birth, if that is something that you want to experience, get as much education as possible, take as many classes as you can, and read as many books as you can, because being educated is so helpful. Just knowing what is going on when it's happening, it takes some of the fear factor away. So I spent the majority of my pregnancy doing all of these preparations. I would recommend spending a decent amount of time, if you can, preparing while you are pregnant. But also if you're not pregnant, there's no better time than now to start preparing. The next thing that I did, I brought all of those things into my actual labor and birth experience. So I physically made affirmation cards and I hung them up in the birth suite so that I had a constant reminder on how to reframe my thoughts. And this is something that meditation really helped me be able to do, is pause and observe my thought, but then change the thought into something less powerful or something that I had more control over, I guess you could say. For instance, I changed the thought of pain to discomfort. And when we think of discomfort, it's just something that's uncomfortable, whereas pain typically is something that we perceive as bad. So by changing pain to discomfort, the actual feeling of contractions and crowning and the ring of fire, it just became uncomfortable. It was less scary, less bad, and more of just an uncomfortable sensation that I was experiencing. Another thing that I told myself a lot is that this will not last forever. A lot of people say, just 1 minute at a time. A contraction only lasts 1 minute. You only push for 1 minute, and you can do anything for 1 minute. I found that these affirmations were just so helpful and so powerful in keeping my mind in alignment with the goal, which was, having a natural unmedicated birth. And when experiencing this or going through this process, I think one of the most important things is mindset. Mindset is everything. If you can sit back and observe your thoughts and see them and move them in the direction that you want your mind to move, like, that is so powerful. And that is what really helped me get through this experience. Another important piece to this was having a strong support system. So I don't know where I would be if I didn't have my fiance Keith there with me. Like I said earlier, we read a lot about the Bradley method, which is partner coached birthing, and he was just so supportive and so strong and really like an anchor for me. I could rely on him to just remind me of where I needed to be or what I needed to be doing, and I could rely on him to make important decisions for me so that I could focus on relaxing and being with myself during this process. And I think it's so important, whether it's just you and your partner going through this or if you choose to have a doula, having a strong support system is crucial in successfully birthing naturally. We also use a couple different comfort measures. So when we were laboring at home before we went to the birth center, I was in the bathtub a lot, and water is just known to just be really relaxing, but also it kind of makes you weightless, so it takes away some of the pain, some of the discomfort. So being in the bath was really helpful. I also used movement a lot. So when I first started experiencing more painful contractions as I was getting closer to going to the birth center, I remember leaning on the sink in the bathroom and on the counter and really swaying my hips was really helpful in those moments when my initial thought was like, I can't do this, or I'm not going to get through this, or this is really painful. I would just be with myself and really move through the contraction. And then once I was actually at the birth center, once I was in active labor, even more specifically when I was in the pushing phase of labor, vocalizing or being very loud was extremely comforting for me. I felt that by screaming, I guess you could say, I was letting out some of this tension that was in my body, because it is a lot of tension and a lot of friction to push a baby out, and I felt like by vocalizing it really helped me get some of this energy, some of this tension out of my body. So I found that to be a very helpful tool as well. And it's honestly not something that I ever thought that I would do when giving birth. I was like, I don't want to be one of those women that is screaming. I was totally one of those women screaming. So when you're in the birth experience, you think so little about those things, like, oh, what are other people going to think of me if I scream, or being insecure about your body. I just remember going into the birthing suite and wanting to get in the bathtub, and I'm like, well, I'm just gonna take all my clothes off. I even brought a bathing suit, but I'm like, don't need a bathing suit, just gonna get completely naked. You know, I don't care what people think, I don't care if people hear me, I'm just gonna scream. I did what I needed to do at that time to get through it. And then as we are coming to a close on this video, I wanted to share with you the biggest thing that helped me achieve a successful natural and unmedicated birth, and that is believing in myself. So with a lot of the preparation that I did, I really spent a lot of time, again, affirming and really telling myself and reminding myself how strong and how capable I am of achieving this. You know, women have birthed babies forever, longer than we could even imagine or fathom, you know, way beyond just our family or just this century. You know, women have been doing this forever, long before we were even a thought. And, you know, with that being said, they've been doing it for so long without medication. They've been doing it naturally for as long as life has been. And I feel like that is so empowering to kind of take that information and really embody it fully, that like women have been doing this forever and that I am strong and capable as a woman to do this now. You know, yes, we have all of these medical advancements, and yes, we do have the choice to not, you know, experience the discomfort or the pain, but I believe that we can. We as women are so strong and so capable. And yeah, I remember the moment before going into labor, giving birth, that I truly feel like I started believing in myself. And I was talking to Keith, and he just kept telling me the whole time I was pregnant, I'd be like, I don't know if I can really do this. Like, I don't really know what I'm getting myself into, and having all of these doubts. And he would just say, well, I believe in you. Like, I believe in you. And there's this moment where I like looked at him and I was like, you know what? Like, I really need to believe in myself. And I just felt this shift in me that was like, anybody out there can say like, yeah, you can totally do this. But until you fully feel and integrate that you can do it, that you believe you can do it, I don't think we can do anything. You know, like, I don't think anything would be achieved if we don't believe that we can do it. So yeah, I spent a lot of time, again, just affirming and telling myself that I'm strong and I'm capable and that I can do this. And eventually something clicked and I started believing in myself, and, you know, I was able to successfully do it. But I don't think, honestly, that I would have been able to do it without all of the preparation that I did. If you are interested in going through this process, first I want to say to you that you are strong and you are capable, and I personally know that you can do it, but I also want you to start telling yourself these things and believing in yourself, and do some of this preparation that I mentioned, and you will most likely have a successful experience. And with all that being said, I am also 100% aware of these situations where having a natural and unmedicated birth is not possible, and I think that if your birth experience does go in that direction of, you know, needing some assistance or needing some medical intervention for the safety of you and your baby, I think there's some preparation that we need to do for that as well, in accepting that it's okay and it's natural and it's normal, whatever direction our birth experience decides to go in. And it doesn't mean that we're a failure if, you know, we needed an emergency C-section or if we needed to get an epidural because it was too difficult. I think there is also a need to prepare and accept for whatever happens. So this is kind of just like my how I did it video. If you like this information, I would love for you to give it a thumbs up. And I'm also going to be sharing my why I had a natural and unmedicated birth, so stick around for that video.